for the movie Blood Beat.
Just bald, empty Wisconsin. If you ever wondered what it looks like, this is what it looks like here.
You know, a few months ago, Mike and Rich put out a review episode about the Jerry Springer Show.
Oh, yes.
And we jokingly, in the thumbnail for that video, we said the least viewed episode ever. And I think this is going to be the real least viewed video ever. Because we're talking about Blood Beat, a movie that nobody's seen or heard about.
But we want to get you excited to watch Blood Beat, whatever it is. Whatever this movie is. And I've seen it a few times. I got a lot of questions for you, Jay.
Well, it's a Christmas movie. It's become a Christmas tradition for me. I watch it almost every year now. I saw it, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago for the first time.
Yeah, how did you find this?
I don't remember how I think I was just like looking online for kind of more obscure, because I love Christmas horror movies. And so I was just looking for like Christmas horror movies I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
And I stumbled across this DVD copy. This was all that was available at the time. There might have been like a VHS rip on YouTube or something.
Okay.
But this looks like a bootleg that you would get at like a convention.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it does have a barcode.
Oh.
And this company, Apprehensive Films, that we have a couple other releases by them.
Huh.
So.
Okay.
And I did at one point contact the guy from Apprehensive Films because I was trying to get in touch with the director of Blood Beat.
Right.
And he was very helpful.
Okay.
So it's like he was in contact with the director. I think it was like an official release. It was just a movie so obscure that nobody cared about, and the only company that they could get to release it is Apprehensive Films, which I don't even think is around anymore.
Does it look like does the print look like it's from a VHS? Or?
It's a VHS rip. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But for the longest time, this is the only way it was available. And then a few years ago, Vinegar Syndrome put out a Blu-ray.
Scanned from the negative.
Cleaned up.
All fixed up except for the credits.
Except for the last shot that goes into the credits. I guess I can find the elements for that.
I guess. Or it was just that bad. I suppose if it was stored tails out, maybe that had the most rot on it.
But the rest of it, pretty good.
Yeah.
Not completely, there's some scratches here and there, but...
Definitely watchable.
It's better than the Apprehensive Films version. Which I don't even think this artwork... I think that's stolen from another movie. I think this is from, I want to say Silent Night, Bloody Night?
It could be.
But I could be wrong. But I don't think this was original artwork for Blood Beat.
Oh, dear.
And if you've ever seen the theatrical poster for Blood Beat, I don't know what's going on it.
You want to talk about what Blood Beat is?
I guess we should start with, because out of everything we've ever talked about in review, this is probably the thing that the fewest people have seen.
Sure.
Next to maybe Star Trek Discovery.
Would you like to join me and make a little scream? Yum, yum.
So a little bit of backstory on the filmmaker and the movie itself, because they kind of one goes into the other.
Yeah.
The director of the movie is a man named... Fabrice Zafiratos.
Which seems like it should be a Greek name.
He was born in Vietnam, grew up in France. Somehow, in his early 20s, he doesn't explain how, he just ended up in Wisconsin. And he met a lady, some mysterious lady, I don't know who she is, but they were dating, and she had a little bit of money. And so they decided to use that money to make a movie, even though he did not grow up with aspirations to be a filmmaker. They just decided to make this movie.
That's so weird. Like his dad produced a couple movies, right?
His dad was apparently a filmmaker.
Okay, so maybe had a little bit of the idea in his head.
I guess he said at one point he wanted to be an actor. He never did that.
Okay,
but he was more into like sci-fi and comic books and stuff like that. But as was often the case in the early '80s. You make a low-budget horror movie because those are easier to sell.
That's true, yes.
The classic kind of Evil Deads.
Drive-in, second feature.
Yeah, exactly.
No money, and you maybe you make your money back if you're lucky. Hopefully, I don't know if this did.
They can't all be Evil Dead. It's a weird movie, which I guess now is a good time to point out, a good time as any, that we're showing clips from this, and it probably looks like it should be on Best of the Worst. But it's not funny. It's not. It wouldn't be funny to watch in a group setting. It's more just
No.
kind of fascinating.
Yeah, you wouldn't be making, you'd be, cracking a joke here and there, but for the most part, you'd just be like,
And the story of Bloodbeat is it's a family on Christmas. You have the mom, her 2 children, her boyfriend.
Yep.
She's divorced, I guess. They don't really say what happened to the husband.
no idea. He's not there.
But the son is bringing home his girlfriend to meet the family for the first time. And while she's there, they discover a samurai armor suit in a trunk right next to the bed. The samurai suit gets inhabited by a ghost and starts killing neighbors. And that's the movie.
Yeah.
It's a classic, okay, we're going to make a low-budget slasher movie. Like we said, you do horror movies because that's what makes money. But somewhere along the way, they started to get more abstract, more surreal, and it isn't really a Christmas slasher anymore.
No, it barely matters. Really, it's less a Christmas slasher and more a hunting season slasher. That's way more important than the fact that it's Christmas, is that it is hunting season.
It is hunting season, which is why up until this Blu-ray, I assumed I didn't know anything about the filmmaker. I assumed he grew up in Wisconsin because this movie is so Wisconsin.
It really is.
And it has such an understanding of, like, I grew up, in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. I grew up around hunters. It wasn't uncommon to go over to someone's house and there'd just be a deer carcass hanging in their garage. Like, this is all so familiar.
Yep, just like the beginning of this movie. It's like, first thing you get to see is the inside of a deer. Like, oh, yeah, mm-hmm. And seriously, anyone from Wisconsin is just, like, not fazed by that in the least.
Yeah.
We've all seen it 100 times, at least.
But to be fair to the filmmakers, they didn't kill an animal for the movie. They contacted the local whatever department. You got a dead deer? Because there's roadkill all the time out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
And they waited weeks until they finally got a call back saying, we got a deer for you.
All right.
So that's the deer that's hanging up in the movie. It was already dead.
We could talk about, let's talk about some of the actors. This is a classic unknown, like you go to the IMDb page and everybody has one credit, and here it is.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple people.
Well, the couple, the mom and the boyfriend, they weren't, I guess you said he went on to be an actor, but at the time they weren't professional actors. Everyone else they actually cast.
Okay.
But those two are just people that the director befriended in his time in Wisconsin. And according to him, that's just how they are.
What's the matter? Honey, you've seen all kinds of dead deer before. Honey.
I'm sorry.
Now calm down. You got a bad migraine?
Like a big inspiration for the movie, the mom is a painter. She's very hippie-like, which we'll talk about some of the maybe themes of this movie. But she's a painter.
Yeah.
And all those paintings that are hanging around the house are that woman's actual paintings.
Okay, that makes
was
sense.
a big inspiration for the entire movie, apparently.
Yeah, this seems that's interesting that there was something else that was inspiring this movie. This movie seems like we've seen a bunch of movies over the years, particularly cheap horror movies that seem based on we have this thing and we can make a movie.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the samurai suit.
The killer, the slasher of the movie is a ghost samurai.
Why?
Well, according to the director, why not?
All right.
Why is there a samurai in Wisconsin? Why not? But apparently, the original idea was it was just going to be a supernatural slasher, some sort of ghost that was killing people.
Okay.
But shortly before production, he was in an antique store in Chicago and saw this suit of armor and said, we'll use that as the killer.
Sure.
So the killer of the movie is a samurai.
Just because it was there.
It was serendipitous.
All right. Okay. I can accept that. I could accept it a little more if there weren't these tenuous connections at the very end to make something of it.
Yeah.
That's real confusing.
Well, I learned a lot from the commentary track, and the commentary track is in French with subtitles, so you actually really have to pay attention. But for everything that he answers, it just raises more questions.
Okay.
But one thing that he did make clear is that the suit of armor that is in this house belongs to the mom, and it was handed down generation to generation because one of her ancestors killed that samurai in a battle. And that's why they have the samurai suit. There's nothing in the movie to support this. This is just what the director says.
Well, there might be something in the dialogue in that last bit, but it's hard to tell because you cannot hear a word either of them is saying.
No, you can't destroy me.
And that's a detriment. I will say one of the biggest problems I had with this movie overall is that the audio is not good.
And he admits that too. He says they were, pretty inexperienced. They didn't have the time or budget to go back and do ADR. So it's just like what we got is what we got.
You know I wouldn't do something like this. Ted, you know. He wouldn't take me away from you, and he would never take you and Dolly away from me.
Yeah, it's the biggest hurdle I think to watch in the movie.
It's not a problem with a lot of the movie because the movie, like we said, it starts with the hunting, and so much of it almost feels very like documentary style.
Yeah.
Where it almost doesn't even matter what they're saying through a lot of the movie.
Well, even when things are happening, it doesn't, like, the dialogue doesn't matter so much because it's so based in the visuals and the effects and the samurai thing and everything. But yeah, it doesn't. It's not unsatisfactory because you don't really know what's going on. Mm-hmm. It's fine. I mean, it's more about what you're looking at than what what the plot is.
Yeah.
I'd like you to meet Sarah, Mom.
You understand right at the beginning that the mom has some sort of fucking psychic issue with this girlfriend because the mom is also psychic. But she definitely, like, because this is the first time the family's meeting the girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And the minute that the mom meets her, she's like, something's wrong with this girl.
Yeah, immediately. And
then the girl has a psychic connection of her own with the samurai ghost.
Yeah, which, whoops. Like, oh, did you, like, was it predestined that she was going to end up at this house eventually? Or,
But it's a very, very strong psychic connection.
She starts having orgasms.
Yes, when the samurai ghost kills people, she psychically is linked to it and has an orgasm.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in the movie to indicate that she knows this is happening. Like, she doesn't know that the killer is killing people. It's just those things are just linked somewhere in the back of her mind, I guess. Because it's not like she's having an orgasm because of the killing, I don't think.
I don't think so. It just seems, it just links up.
She's having some sort of intense reaction.
Yeah.
Doesn't know what it is, I guess.
Yeah, well, she's already got tendencies toward it too. Like, she can sense, I don't think she's got the connection with the mom, but she can sense that the mom has the psychic visions and can see what's going on. She's like, when the first day they arrive, that she and the boyfriend are upstairs trying to, get it on. And she's like, but she's right in the room. I can just feel her. She's right in the room.
It's like I feel she's in the room right now. In the room with us.
Oh, come on, Sarah. She's downstairs in her studio, painting.
I just feel it, Ted. I don't...
And, like, so she's got the sense of it.
Yeah.
About 90% of the psychic scenes with the mom, like, is her seeing stuff, whatever, and then somebody's like, are you okay? And she's like, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. I just can't tell you. Like, can you tell us? I'd like to know.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Well, it's all there, Josh. It's all there visually.
Okay,
You just have to interpret it on your own. But speaking of the samurai suit, also going along with talking about the visuals of the movie, the ghost effects are so interesting. They create a look, kind of like the whole, I mean, even like the idea of it being a samurai suit. It's like you could streamline this movie if it was just some sort of ghost.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's a samurai suit makes it so weird and memorable.
Yeah.
And same with like the ghost effects. So it looks like someone's just drawing on the film.
Like, frame by frame.
Yeah.
Which I don't doubt is what it was.
I think they said it's like every 4 or 5 frames. So they must have had like a clear cell, like almost like an animation cell.
Oh, wow.
That they put over it. Because you see it like, it moves, it moves. It's not like every frame. It
Yeah.
moves differently than the actual movie as far as.
Yes, that's true. I forgot
So,
about that.
which makes it even weirder looking.
Yeah.
But it's just this weird blue light,
in
and
just general areas.
there's kind of some rotoscoping around, like there's like a close up of the hand with the sword in it, but it never quite matches up.
No. But weirdly it matches up with like kind of there's solarization effects when the samurai's going through the woods during the day.
Yeah.
And when that's really interesting actually. The POV for some reason at night clear as day, regular colors. During the daytime, solarization, all sorts of weird effects going on with the samurai. I guess maybe the sunlight is doing weird things to him. I don't know.
He needs to get those, like when you get your eyes dilated,
Oh, yep.
those big sunglasses they give you.
That's what he needs.
He needs some of those.
Get him some blue blockers.
They wrap around your head.
I will say that visually, the hunting actually is a lot more exciting than what I have known of hunting, which is just you go to your stand and you sit and wait for the deer to come. They're chasing.
He mentioned that on the commentary track, because at first I was like, this isn't how you hunt. Like, you don't just wander around the woods with guns.
Yeah.
Like, you get in a tree stand and you sit there for hours. And the director mentions that. He's like, I know that that's how you really hunt, but that's boring, and this is a movie.
Which is exactly what I was going to say. It's
So-
way more dynamic to have them, tracking down, going around, doing the whole thing. The second plot point, apart from the girl arrives and things are psychic problems, is they all go out hunting, except for the mom. She's painting and do not bother her. So they all go out hunting, including Sally, the girlfriend. She's like, I don't like hunting. I really don't want to be doing this.
I don't like hunting.
This is what we do in Wisconsin.
Yeah, which, again, behavior-wise, I get that.
Yeah,
Not
that's the
surprised.
thing is, like, you could say, like, not all the acting is great. These are all amateur actors, but again, going back to Evil Dead, people love Evil Dead, even though the acting in that movie is mostly terrible.
Yeah.
And this is a case where it all, like, all that stuff, even though the acting isn't great, it does feel very natural. And
yes.
it feels very real with her, this, like, the girlfriend going along hunting. She's not sure about this, but everybody else is, you can tell they do this every weekend.
Yeah, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Uncle Pete's here. We're all gonna go hang out and ride horses and go shoot things, and and it builds to this climax, which actually I really like the tension of that scene.
God damn!
Finally, she freaks out and yells no and runs away.
Yeah.
And runs into somebody that's just been eviscerated and runs out of the woods and is just like, ack.
Yeah, and that's before the ghost samurai comes to life,
Yeah.
right? I don't know who that guy is.
Dead guy in the woods.
It's a harbinger of things to come, I guess.
I guess. It does seem like, well, I mean, it plot-wise, it does get her to be isolated from the rest of the family. 'Cause she freaks out and it's just like, okay, put her to bed while, you and me and the cat play Monopoly. You kids go ahead and play your Monopoly with the cat. He's not going to do a good job. He's already lying on Park Place. He's a bad banker.
Yeah, can we mention the cat? That's immediate 10 out of 10 movie for me now because you got a cat.
Love that cat.
Trying to sleep on the Monopoly board while they're setting it up. And that's another little chunk of the movie that again feels very, when I say like it feels like this guy grew up in Wisconsin, where you have like family get-togethers where it's like not the dad, but the boyfriend is just trying to watch TV with headphones on. The mom's doing her own thing on the couch. The kids are sitting on the ground playing Monopoly. Like
Totally
everybody-
real.
they're in the same room, but they're all just doing their own thing. And then the girlfriend, completely isolated, where it's like you have this family unit, and then the girlfriend is like the other. She's an outsider.
the interloper, yeah.
And that's why the mom immediately has like a bad feeling about her. And then she ends up having this psychic connection with the samurai, who apparently was in some sort of battle with this family at some point in history. So there's something going on about war and about outsiders, and we're our own group. These are people invading our ground, our home. There's something there.
It's all very vague. Everything in this movie is very hinted at.
Yeah.
There could be an interesting thing where, like, when they show up with the girlfriend and the mom's like, she's doing the same thing with the deer right away. And Gary's like, you've seen dead deer 100 times. What the hell? What?
Yeah.
So it's like maybe you could delve into like like a Mom Who Cried Wolf kind of thing, where like you don't know who's going to be a problem. Mom's having problems with everybody. You could do
They do
something
treat her
interesting
that
with
way, like, oh, mom's being mom again.
It's really weird, Ted. I feel I've seen her before. And I don't know why. I don't understand it.
Well, it's probably like deja vu or something, you know?
No.
I experience that sometimes when I see somebody and I think I've seen them before.
You know me, Ted. It's more than deja vu. I've seen her before.
I assume they're used to it because Mom's been psychic their whole life.
Yeah.
And they know it, and they just don't really want to tell anybody, which becomes evident later in the film.
Sure, sure.
Come in, Ted. Red Baron to Lone Ranger. This is an emergency. Mayday, mayday. Red Baron to Lone Ranger. This is an emergency.
Uncle Pete has somehow gotten his truck in the ditch, and something slashes his throat.
The first time I saw the movie, it was on the VHS rip, and it's so dark during that scene that I assumed I was just missing visual information because it was so dark, but I wasn't.
It's not there.
It's just not there.
No.
But that's the first killing by the samurai ghost.
Yeah, you get, but at least you're getting the idea that unlike the guy who died out in the woods, like something's doing this. There's something supernatural-ish.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe you're seeing through the killer's eyes, like it's an actual, you know, like a corporeal person.
It feels like that scene in particular feels like a typical low-budget slasher movie scene.
Yeah.
Before things get really fucking weird.
Yeah,
But,
which happens pretty quick.
Can we talk about the bedroom, by the way?
Yeah.
The bedroom that the son and his girlfriend stay in.
Yeah.
You can tell, not just that bedroom, I guess, but the whole house. It's like, this is not set decoration.
Oh no.
This is just that house.
There is Sanka and dehydrated. Oh God, there's fucking dehydrated orange juice in the other house. But that's totally took me back to the '80s. Just like that's what orange juice used to be like. You couldn't just get it at the store.
Where's my orange juice? You forgot my orange juice.
Look, but I didn't forget anything. I'm just
Look at my orange
walking
juice.
around all the time.
And like in movie terms, that dehydrated orange juice, if you have a scene where it's like, first of all, it seems like the guy should be like, go get me a beer. But for whatever reason, he's like,